Now I would like to introduce and invite here Dr. Cor J.W, Director of the European Agency for Development in Special Needs Education. Dr. Meijer, please.
I need to find my PowerPoint. Is it on?
Your PowerPoint, yes, it should be here. So the presentation of Dyrektora Meijera. I believe.
Make this motion.
You know the titles of yours?
Okay, we do it without.
Yes, try it again, because it's a... I will try like this, and I will come from here.
PowerPoint.
Yeah, I will go from here. It would be Warsaw. It's not there. Can't find it.
We do it without.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I will try. Przepraszam za te kłopoty techniczne.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, dear Mr. Minister. Thank you for having me here today in Warsaw. It's a big pleasure for me to be here and to discuss this important issue today with you. And I'm very glad that this conference and this theme gets so much attention, that so many people have come today. I can do without PowerPoints, even better. Okay. It was a week ago, I didn't know I was here, I would be here, until the minister invited me to come last week when he was in Brussels, and he said, could you come to Warsaw next week? And I said, let's have a look. And so I decided to have a look, sorry, and here am I. Now, I would like to start with a few words about our agency. We are in our 17th year now. We are quite young organization, and we have our main office in Denmark, in Odense, and we have also a Brussels office. And we are financed by two sources. One is ministries of education of our member countries, and the other is, here we are. Good. Then I can go through it. I've done that one. And we, for the other half, we are supported by the European Commission as one of the 6 centers of excellence in Europe, which is quite an achievement, because, you know, the European Commission does not want to pay institutions for a long-term period. But they do it with 6 institutions, 6 centers of excellence. One of us are we. We are also already know that we are going to be included in the new Erasmus Plus program for the next period of 7 years. So we are also happy to look forward to a stable future. Now, we have 28 member countries currently, all EU countries, plus Norway, Iceland, and Switzerland, who are not yet a member of the European Union. And we miss Bulgaria and Romania and Croatia at the moment, but we are in discussion with these countries. Poland has become a member in 2005. The representation to our organization from Poland is in our representative board, that is the people who decide on our work program and on our topics. For Poland, that is Elżbieta Neroy, she's here, she is in our board, and also in the countries who are a member of our organization, we have a so-called national coordinator. Now, I don't know if Małgorzata is here. Oh, she's there at the end, Małgorzata Donska-Olsko. She is responsible for the transfer of information to the agency and back to Poland, so she's in the dissemination work. Now, some people have a different association with our name, and they think we are in favor of segregated provision. We are not. The agency is fully focused on the UN Convention principles as well as the ET European targets for 2020 that says social inclusion is a priority. So we are strongly in line with the international agreements. I think also a very important point to make is we do not compare countries. We are not saying Luxembourg 12 points and Norway 0 points, or we are not a Eurovision Song Contest. What we do is we want to provide learning opportunities to ministries, to experts, to practitioners, so that we can learn from each other's good practices, basically. So we collect data, we disseminate information, we organize big conferences and hearings. I will come back to that one in a minute. And we work together with the bodies in Europe and outside and cooperate so that we avoid overlap and double costs. On our website, you find all our project work. Very importantly is you can order for free all the reports in Polish language. So you just need to write our secretariat or an email and say, I would like to have that work. Can you please send me the Polish version of it? And we send it to you for free. No cost involved. Here are is an overview of some agency publications. Then special events. 5 minutes ago. Okay, this lady is very firm behind this wall. We want to hear the voice of people with disabilities. So we organize quite regularly, 4 or 5 years, meetings with student learners who have sometimes severe disabilities to talk to policymakers and say, we want this, we would like this, A, B, C, D. So we have held some hearings. This was the last one in November 2011 with a lot of people with disabilities talking to policymakers, which we think is crucial. In the disability area, there's one important thing which we always have in our ears, is nothing about us without us. So that's what we want to follow. One of the main conclusions of those hearings, and I think that's a very important one to share with you, is that the learners with disabilities we have talked to, and that's in 3 times, they all say inclusive education should be achieved as early as possible. Why? Is that because the earlier we learn the skills and competences and attitudes and so on, the better, because we need it later on in further education and in labor market and so on. This is an overview of some recent work we have done. ICT will be debated later on, so I will not spend many words on that one, but I would like to point you at the Teacher Education for Inclusion project. In this project, we have developed a so-called teacher profile. In which the teacher profile consists of the competences, skills, attitudes, views, values teachers need to have in order to deal with learners with disabilities in mainstream schools. So it's a profile for the mainstream teacher. And this profile has had a big influence in Europe already. And I really recommend you to have a look at the profile and maybe discuss implementation in Poland. The former speakers, the minister, and the lady who was just before me referred to the UN Convention. Well, Article 24 says very clearly state parties should ensure inclusive education on all levels, full stop. Now, these are the countries from our agency who have ratified the optional protocol. Be careful, the UN Convention consists of 4 different elements. One is signing the UN Convention, the second is ratifying the convention. But there is a step number 3 and 4. 3 is signing the optional protocol that goes with the convention, and 4 is ratifying the optional protocol. And these last 2 stages are very important to also include in the ratification process. And I recommend Poland to also have a look at the optional protocol and the signing and ratification, because if that is done, all phases have been gone through. Why is the optional protocol important? Because it gives tools to individuals and organizations to complain if things don't work as agreed by the UN Convention. So that is, but I congratulate that Poland has had the first 2 steps already done. You see there are many countries missing. My own country, the Netherlands, have only signed and nothing else. Then this slide gives an overview of the problem in Europe, or the challenge, right. We have countries who have more than 4% of the learners in special education settings. 4%, sometimes even 5%, sometimes even 6%. And there are countries who have less than 1% of children in segregated provision. Now, if you look at the right-hand side, you see Belgium, Germany. They have not only signed the UN Convention, but also ratified it, but also ratified the optional protocol. So in these countries, I expect a revolution in the coming years. Because if you have 5 or 6% of students in special provision, and you have ratified the protocol, then you have to ensure that inclusive education takes place on all levels. We are not talking primary school level only. We are all talking higher education, right? So, then, this is my last slide, so I think I'm quite on time. We will change our name from the 1st of January onwards into the European Agency for Special Needs and Inclusive Education to show better our focus of our work. Thank you for your attention. I'm curious whether this conference will lead to the conclusion that we have seen in many of our work. The conclusion that we have seen in assessment work we have done, on classroom practice, on transition, on vocational education and training, is what is good for learners with disabilities is good for all students. And I hope the outcome of this conference will be more or less in the same direction. Because we are not talking only learners with disabilities. We are also talking learners from different cultural backgrounds, language, social disadvantage, and so on and so forth. I wish you all a good luck with the conference, and thanks again, Minister, for inviting me here today to be with you. Thank you very much.